The Last of Us has finally returned after 2 years, and it's safe to say that this episode returned with a bang, and reminded us of why this show is so good. Picking up directly after the end of the Season 1 finale when Joel lied to Ellie, we saw it cut forward to 5 years later where Joel and Ellie's entire relationship dynamic had changed. The infected had evolved and battles were set to be taking place on all fronts for the residents in the community in Jackson, Wyoming. With an ending that showed us that there are threats both inside and outside, let's dive into the episode and discuss just how good it was. Here is a review of The Last of Us Season 2 Episode 1 and the ending explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Ellie. What's particularly interesting about Ellie in this season of the show is that she's literally fine with everybody within the community, but when it comes to Joel, she's being off with him and that sense of care that was there before seems to have diminished. There's clearly a complex that's going on in her mind about wanting to prove that she's big enough and strong enough to look out for herself. We saw this in the opening scene where she was practicing her fighting, and once she was told that a punch was held back on her because it would have knocked her out, she was disappointed and told Jesse to not do it again. And we also saw it during the ending of the episode where Seth insulted her, and before she had the chance to fight back herself, Joel intervened and pushed Seth to the ground, causing her to lash out at him again because she felt like he didn't need to intervene. There were also other occasions of this power complex and wanting to prove that she was strong enough throughout other points in the episode, such as when herself and Dina were at the building on the Alpine Trail and she made a joke about Dina wanting to go back and let the men take care of it. And also when she was being questioned about what happened whilst she was in there. She mentioned to Tommy how Joel and himself wouldn't have turned back if they were faced with the infected that they were going to wipe out. So this protection that she's getting by her peers and also Joel is something that she's taking in a patronizing way, and it's dictating her overall mood. She feels she's strong enough to face infected and protect herself and others. This confidence that she has is something that I think is going to come back and get her later on in the season though. We know that she's obviously immune to the bite of the infected, which is something that gives her that confidence to be able to face them head on. But her immunity isn't something that's widely known. Hence why after she was bitten, she changed the wound to a different shape, so if the scar were to be seen, it wouldn't resemble a bite mark. It's also so clear to see that Ellie and Dina are going to embark on some kind of romantic relationship. They obviously kissed at the end, and there were moments where Ellie was looking on in a jealous way, especially when she was around Jesse. The conversation with Jesse, with him saying, "No we won't," when Ellie said to him that they'd be back together in 2 weeks, and then having Dina immediately walk over to her. It showed that she's going to be an important figure for Ellie over the course of this season, arguably even more so than Joel. I'm hoping Ellie changes her mindset and attitude towards Joel soon though, because there could be a sense of regret on the horizon. Joel's arc is one that's filled with sadness at the moment. In saving Ellie from death 5 years ago, when the potential for the population to be saved was on the horizon if she died, he's now being punished by Ellie, and treated in a way that's causing him to feel alone, disliked, and also lied to. He views Ellie like he would view Sarah, and that's what makes it heartbreaking. When he was in therapy with Gail, we saw him refer to Ellie as his daughter, but she had to correct him and remind him that she wasn't actually his daughter at all. He's confused as to why she's annoyed with him so much, and the protection that he thinks he's giving her is the very thing that's pushing her further and further away, as she's still respectful to the likes of Tommy. However, we even saw that Tommy was lying to Joel too. He lied to him about the fact that he was out shooting with Ellie. So there is this deep sense of loneliness that's at the heart of Joel, and the scene with him out on the porch on his own with the guitar at night summed it up perfectly. But you just know that he was sitting there because he wanted to make sure that Ellie got home safely. With Joel entering Ellie's garage and seeing the guitar on a pile of clothes where it was also covered in dust with strings that also needed changing, it just felt like a symbolic representation of the state of their relationship right now. We don't know how it ended up at this point, as so much time has passed. We don't know if Joel told her the truth, but the relationship is now in a position that we've never seen it in, and Joel doesn't quite know what to do. We also found out that Joel killed Gail's husband Eugene, something that she holds against him. Gail said how it was something that she knew that he had to do, which most likely means that Eugene got infected, but she said how she resents him for it because of the way that he killed him. We don't know right now what happened and why he did kill him, but the actor who plays Eugene is listed in the cast list, so I imagine we're gonna see what happened. The Infected. I forgot how menacing looking the Infected could be in this show. Seeing the clickers in the distance that Ellie was shooting at reminded me of just how haunting they were. But also, in seeing the stalkers for the first time, it added an even darker and difficult layer to these monsters. When Ellie and Dina went into the building where they thought the infected were after obliterating the bear, we saw this shadowy figure in the background crawling around and looking to get Ellie. This was a type of infected called a stalker. They were a lot quieter, were able to take cover, hide, and watch in the distance before launching their attack, rather than having a lesser brain function when compared to many other types of infected with the likes of a clicker that can't see and just runs blindly to the sound that it's attracted to. The stalker poses an even deeper threat for the humans because it's a type of infected that they've not faced before. A smarter type of infected that can see you before you see it, so it's going to be interesting to see how the group handles this type. The stalker being introduced at this point of the story is also perfect, because it connects to the fact that stalking and hunting is at the heart of the story, with the likes of Abby looking to hunt down Joel. I'd also say, with the pipeline showing traces of Cordyceps in the roots of the soil, that shows that infected are most likely going to become present within the gates of the community, something that means that it could be destroyed from the inside out. Abby. Right at the beginning of the episode, we saw that Abby and the remaining fireflies that were left after Joel butchered a ton of them whilst breaking Ellie out of the hospital in the Season 1 finale were standing over the graves of those that he killed. Abby was mourning them all and wanted to seek revenge on Joel for what he did to them, whilst the others actually wanted to let it go and just get to a point of safety as they were now out there on their own. However, with a 3-day head start on them, Abby didn't feel like it was an impossible task to locate and find Joel, even with the limited information that they had. As we saw at the end, Abby and Owen and the rest of them had made it to the mountain range that overlooked the compound in Jacksonville, Wyoming, where Joel was located. It took them 5 years, but it seems like Abby and co are going to get that revenge on Joel that they were looking to get. I'm imagining that they might well look to act like refugees in order to get in there, and the comment that Joel made during this episode about not having enough space and looking to protect their own is something that's going to come back and get him, because I imagine that's the approach that he's going to have with them, but somehow they'll probably be able to get in. My review of the episode. I thought this was an incredible first episode of the season. It re-immersed us back into the world instantaneously, and I didn't expect to feel that sense of return and like we'd never left in the speed that we did. The pacing of the episode was slow, but in a good way. It's like cooking your meat slowly so it goes tender and just falls off the bone. That's what this episode did with the story, and I just didn't want it to end. The scene where Ellie and Dina were inside of the building was so tense, yet there were humorous moments embedded within it that made me laugh. However, the silence that dominated the room made me feel nervous about what could have been on the horizon. A line in the episode that I think is going to hold importance in the season is, you can't heal something unless you're brave enough to say it out loud. And I think once Joel finally tells Ellie the truth, we'll see their relationship change and go back to being better, hopefully. One thing that this episode highlighted well through small moments was the transportation back to life before, and showing remnants of what once was, such as the employee board and also the magazine from the time where the world stopped. It's haunting seeing things like that in the show, and by seeing how the world used to be, it just brought to the forefront how much has changed for them. It's like there's ghosts in the room with them. When it came to the performances, I thought Bella as Ellie and Isabella as Dina stole it. Their chemistry was strong, and Dina brought out the light in Ellie, which showed just how much she meant to her. I also thought that Pedro Pascal's somber state where loneliness dominated him was one of my favourites too. Seeing how he intervened the moment Ellie was insulted showed just how much he cared for her, and I felt so bad when she just got angry with him. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed that there are only 7 episodes in the season, because I feel like we've waited quite a while. And even just after 1 episode, I'm feeling like the countdown has already started, which isn't what I should be feeling after the first installment. But what I will say is that if the story is good enough, I probably won't care how many episodes there are by the end of it. I'm really impressed with the show's return, and we've been spoiled recently with TV. Long may this level of quality continue. So, there you have it, a review of The Last of Us Season 2 Episode 1 and the ending explained. I'm going to be covering the entirety of Season 2 of the show, so if you want to see more videos, then I've put the playlist below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. What did you think of this episode? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.